Hello everyone! I'm sure as teachers you have heard about environment analysis, but what is it? Let's take a look. It is also called situation analysis or constraints analysis, and it is a fundamental part of the curriculum design that is related to every situational factor that affects the development of the respective course. In the same way, it impacts directly on decisions, goals, teaching methodology, and assessment in a class. Sometimes we can find this component inside the needs analysis too. Moreover, it ensures that the lesson will be usable for both teachers and students. However, many factors as learners, teachers, and the situation itself can alter the procedure of environment analysis. For this reason, we must consider two essential points while doing it. Number 1. If an aspect is not considered, will the class still be useful? And number 2. How strong is the impact of this aspect on the course? Let's use an example. There is a German student that moved to USA and stayed there for 3 years, learning English in a natural way. However, he comes back to German and starts to communicate in his mother tongue, leaving the English apart. He took English classes in his country. Let's analyze some possible constraints about this. Number 1, limited time of English classes. Number 2, lack of motivation to keep talking in English because he doesn't need it to communicate with others. And number 3, English teachers use traditional methodology to teach. To manage these restrictions, it is necessary to find solutions. For instance, be in contact with the English language for a longer time. Teachers should use different techniques to engage students in learning, and use activities to keep motivation like the next ones. As you heard in the example, factors of any kind can interrupt and risk the teaching learning process. For that reason, it's important to understand each constraint presented in the classroom. A constraint must be identified on time, so the teacher will be able to find a solution for the possible effects it might have on his or her class. The steps that can be followed in an environmental analysis are: brainstorm, consider the factors that affect the course, choose the essential factors and rank them from the most critical to the less, decide which information you will need to study the factor and understand it in depth, like researches and theories. Consider its effects on the factor on the class and how to work or overcome it. And number 5, the last one, revise one more time all the previous steps to make sure of your findings. In brief, environment analysis, also called constraint analysis, has to do with all the limitations found in a class, like time, class size, or arrangement of seats that can use negative consequences if they are not identified on time. Moreover, it is essential to detect the strongest restriction to be able to do something about it and diminish the impact it might have on the students as well as on us teachers.
Created using Powtoon.